Nothing was wrong with his life, and that was exactly what confused him. From the outside, everything seemed stable. He had work, a routine, people around him, and no obvious reason to feel unhappy. He could laugh, function, and move through his days without struggle. Yet beneath all of that, there was a quiet emptiness he couldn't explain. It wasn't sadness, and it wasn't depression. It was something more subtle, like living in a room that looked complete but never quite felt finished. At first, he ignored it. He told himself it was just fatigue, or boredom, or stress that would pass on its own. But the feeling didn't disappear. It returned in quiet moments, late at night or early in the morning, when nothing demanded his attention. It didn't hurt, but it lingered. A hollow feeling that made him pause and wonder why life felt flat even though nothing was going wrong. What unsettled him most was that he didn't dislike his life. He wasn't desperate for change. He just didn't feel fully inside it. Days passed, tasks were completed, conversations happened, yet something essential felt distant. Psychologically, this kind of emptiness doesn't come from loss. It comes from disconnection, not from people, but from meaning. He noticed that the emptiness never appeared when he was busy. It surfaced only when things slowed down, when there was nothing to chase, nothing to solve, nothing to distract himself with. In those moments, his mind quietly asked a question he didn't know how to answer: is this all there is? Not dramatically, not in despair, just calmly, as if the question had been waiting for silence to appear. This feeling is more common than people admit. Many individuals feel empty not because their lives are broken, but because something important has been postponed. Not abandoned, just delayed. Over time, life becomes about responsibility, expectations, and maintaining stability. Attention shifts outward, to what needs to be done, what needs to be handled, what needs to be managed. Slowly, the inner world grows quieter, not peaceful, but ignored. The emptiness he felt wasn't a lack of emotion. It was a lack of connection to himself. He realized this one evening while sitting alone. Nothing bad had happened that day, and nothing especially good had either. It was just another normal day. Yet the feeling returned. He tried to distract himself by scrolling, watching videos, letting background noise fill the space. The emptiness faded temporarily, but he knew it would come back. It always did. This is how emotional emptiness works. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It waits. It waits for moments of stillness, for pauses between distractions. The mind doesn't create emptiness, it reveals it when noise stops. His life was full, but shallow. Busy, but disconnected. He moved through routines without reflection, responded without presence, and lived without depth. Emptiness is often misunderstood as a problem that needs fixing, but psychologically, it's a signal. A signal that something inside needs attention, not addition. People try to fill emptiness with more work, more entertainment, more stimulation, but emptiness isn't solved by adding things. It's addressed by reconnecting. He didn't need a new life. He needed to return to the one he was already living. To slow down enough to feel again, to notice what he had been avoiding. Because emptiness doesn't come from having nothing. It comes from not being present with what you already have. And until that presence returns, life can look fine on the surface and still feel quietly hollow underneath. He didn't understand it at first, but the emptiness wasn't asking him to change his life. It wasn't demanding a new job, new people, or a dramatic transformation. It was asking for something much quieter. It was asking to be noticed. The feeling wasn't a sign that something was missing from the outside. It was a sign that something inside had been left unattended for too long. The more he paid attention, the more he realized how often he avoided stillness. Silence made the emptiness clearer, so he filled his time without realizing why. He stayed busy not because he was ambitious, but because being occupied kept uncomfortable questions away. When he slowed down, the feeling returned, not as pain, but as a gentle pressure, like a reminder he had ignored too many times. Psychologically, emotional emptiness appears when a person lives on autopilot for too long. When days are filled with routines but lack reflection, when actions are driven by obligation rather than intention, the mind begins to feel detached. Life continues, but meaning fades into the background. This doesn't happen suddenly. It happens quietly, over time, until one day everything looks fine, yet nothing feels deeply satisfying. He realized that much of his attention had been spent maintaining stability. Doing what was expected. Meeting responsibilities. Avoiding disruption. And while stability kept life functioning, it didn't keep it alive. There was no space left for curiosity, depth, or emotional presence. He wasn't unhappy, but he wasn't engaged either. He was surviving comfortably, not living consciously. The emptiness wasn't something to escape. It was something to listen to. When he stopped trying to distract himself from it, he noticed what lay beneath. A desire to feel more connected to his own experiences. To slow down. To be present without needing constant stimulation. The emptiness was pointing toward a lack of inner engagement, not a lack of external success. Many people misunderstand this feeling and assume it means something is wrong with them. They search for motivation, purpose, or passion as if those things can be forced. But meaning doesn't come from chasing intensity. It comes from attention. From being fully present with what already exists. The mind doesn't feel empty because life lacks value. It feels empty because attention has been scattered everywhere except inward. As he began to slow down, the emptiness changed. It didn't vanish overnight, but it softened. Instead of feeling hollow, it felt spacious. Like an open area rather than a void. He noticed moments he had been skipping over before. Small reactions. Subtle emotions. Quiet thoughts that didn't need answers. For the first time in a long while, he wasn't rushing to fill the silence. The emptiness lost its edge when he stopped judging it. When he accepted that it wasn't an enemy, but a signal. A sign that his inner world needed the same care he gave his outer responsibilities. This wasn't about fixing himself. It was about reconnecting with himself. About allowing life to be felt again, not just managed. Over time, he understood something important. A life that looks fine can still feel empty if it's lived without awareness. Meaning isn't something you add to life. It's something that appears when you stop running from yourself. When attention returns inward, even ordinary moments regain depth. And the emptiness that once felt confusing becomes a doorway rather than a problem. He didn't suddenly feel fulfilled every day. Life remained ordinary. Responsibilities remained. But the emptiness no longer scared him. It reminded him to slow down, to pay attention, to return to himself. And that was enough. Because emptiness, when understood, isn't a sign of lack. It's a sign that something within you is waiting to be felt.